Hello, welcome to Tax Chat, a program that is brought to you by Zambia Revenue Authority, where we make tax matters simple for you and I. My name is Alice Lungu. Today, we are discussing an important tax compliance measure, the extension of the application of advanced income tax beyond commercial banks to include other financial institutions and remittance service providers. This measure affects everyone, including you and me, and it is therefore important for individuals, businesses, and organizations sending money outside the country to understand when AIT applies. How can they avoid unnecessary deduction by remaining tax compliant? And how can AIT deducted may be claimed as credit against their income tax liability? Joining me in studio is BWALYA and EDWIN BWALYA from Zambia Revenue Authority. BJ and EDWIN, good to have you back on Tax Chat.
Good morning again, Alice. Thank you for having us again.
Okay.
Good morning, Alice, and good morning to our viewers today.
Yes.
We are happy to be back here again.
Always. Today our topic of focus is advanced income tax, AIT, on foreign remittance. Just to make us understand, BJ, what is advanced income tax? Nangatika kamba pali advanced income tax titantauza kuti bwanji.
Okay, so advanced income tax, or as it is more commonly known, AIT, is a tax collection mechanism under which income tax is collected in advance for specific transactions. But it's important to note that AIT is not a final tax. Therefore, it gives the provision that any amount paid under advanced income tax can be claimed as a tax credit against any income tax remittances that are made by an individual or company, or can even be claimed as a refund, provided that it meets the specific guidelines on how the deduction out was conducted and whether they qualify for the refund or not.
Mm-hmm.
So the purpose of income tax is to actually promote tax compliance and to ensure that tax is collected in advance from persons undertaking specific transactions.
Okay.
Yes.
What is the recent charge regarding AIT on foreign remittance, EDWIN?
That's a very important question, Alice.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let me put it this way for our viewers today and for you, Alice.
Mm-hmm.
Now, imagine you're about to do a transfer
Mm-hmm.
abroad, a foreign transfer. Then you confidently drive to East Park to one of the remittance service providers, let's say World Remit or DHL. So assuming that you assume that the tax laws are still the same and nothing has changed. So you walk in there and you proceed to do a transfer for a foreign transfer abroad. Then a minute later, you realize that you've been charged AIT. What happened? You didn't produce a valid tax clearance certificate before you did that transaction because you were thinking the tax laws have not changed. Now, what are we saying? So previously, AIT was charged on all remittances that were done abroad. So now, effective 1st January 2026, the scope has been extended to other financial institutions and also other remittance service providers. So this entails that organization or companies like microfinances, like talk of Madison Insurance, talk of Bayport, talk of DHL, World Remit, Mukuru, and the rest of these institutions that we're talking about. Now, if you transact, or let me say, if you transfer funds abroad without a valid tax clearance certificate with those institutions, you will be charged AIT if you do not have a valid tax clearance certificate. So in today's discussion, we are saying that you as our taxpayers know that AIT is now also being charged if you use other financial institutions like microfinance and also other remittance service providers, because basta extend manje kuri aya institutions yeti kambapo. So previously AIT was just being charged on those people that transact through commercial banks, but now basta include the remittance service providers na microfinance institutions and other financial institutions. Yes.
BJ, when does AIT apply to foreign remittances?
So AIT is charged or applies to either a person or an organization that is involved in any transaction that is equivalent or the quattro equivalent to $2,000 or more. Without presenting a valid tax clearance certificate. And in that case, the AIT that is charged is actually at 15% of the transaction value that's involved in that case. So the key point that taxpayer needs to understand is that before they transact, they need to present or have a valid tax clearance certificate in order for the system to remove or drop the advanced income tax and therefore avoid, or at least assist the person or organization doing the transaction, avoid the advanced income tax. And therefore, if it was not needed in the first place, they would avoid the entire procedure of trying to claim or have it credited back as a tax credit.
Okay. Who is affected by this requirement? Nobody affected.
That's another important question, Alice. So the requirement applies to both. So it could be individuals or just any other entity that sends money abroad that is more than $2,000 like BJ has mentioned, or kwacha equivalent to that amount. That means you're sending outside Zambia. So for individuals, it could be that, Alice, you're sending tuition fees.
Yes.
You could be buying things abroad. Could be on Amazon, could be on eBay. You could also be making foreign investments outside Zambia. Then furthermore, to businesses, it also applies. So if you probably, as an organization, you want to buy goods, you want to pay for subscription, you also want to probably invest abroad. So the requirement also affects businesses. So it's not just limited to individuals, but to also organizations that are transferring and also making transactions abroad and above the prescribed set limit, which is the $2,000.
Okay. Some taxpayers believe that AIT should not apply if they are tax compliant or do not owe any tax. Is this correct, BJ?
Okay, so no, that is not correct. So being tax compliant or not owing any taxes does not automatically drop the AIT. Reason being, we need to understand the premise of AIT. AIT was introduced in order to assist people to be tax compliant. So it was noted that quite a number of people engaging in transactions, especially those who are, like the example we gave, sending monies out. They could be generating income in Zambia, then they're sending the money out via various means, sometimes not through commercial banks. And therefore that was leading to revenue leakages. So AIT was introduced to encourage people to say, as long as you're engaging in such transactions, you need to present a valid tax clearance certificate, which for an individual or organization that does business, being as long as the normal taxes are remitted correctly, that once a valid tax clearance is generated, it will drop the advanced income tax. And for individuals who are not in business but still engaging in transaction, like we said, you're simply maybe sending school fees to a cousin who's maybe in China. Having a valid tax clearance certificate will indicate that you're not actually in any business and you're not owing any taxes, and therefore you'll not be subject to the advanced income tax. So simply not owing taxes or not having any business activities does not automatically mean advanced income tax will not be charged on you. You have to have a valid tax clearance certificate.
Okay. If you're just joining us, you are watching Tax Chat, and today we are looking at advanced income tax, AIT, on foreign remittances. For now, we go on a short break. We'll be right back. Don't change the channel.
Today, you probably helped save a life. Or perhaps helped keep a watchful eye on a neighborhood. Today, you probably helped put food on someone's table. Or help build a road that leads to a destiny. You may have even helped shape the minds of our future. By paying your taxes, you help keep critical medical staff in a job, a school to run, or a neighborhood safe, and a whole lot more. Your taxes help Zambia become better for you and me. Zambia Revenue Authority. My tax, your tax, our destiny.
Welcome back to Tax Chat, where we simplify tax matters for you. And today we are looking at advanced income tax. And helping us look at that is BEEJAY and EDWIN from Zambia Revenue Authority. EDWIN, are there any exemptions from the advanced income tax?
Precisely, Alice. So we have some exemptions, persons and also organizations. Okay, and that's by law. So these organizations could be government ministries. It could be certain organizations whose income is fully exempt under the income tax law. So, however, if you're exempt, it is mandatory that by law you present the exemption proof to show that you're exempt from paying AIT. So as and when you decide to make that foreign remittance, you need to present proof and documentation to say that you're exempt from being deducted AIT. So anyone who is exempt from paying AIT, we are simply saying, present my documents to show that I won't be charged AIT. Otherwise, if that is not done, even though you're exempt and you don't provide evidence, AIT will be charged on your account. So we're simply saying, if you're a government ministry, if you're an organization that is exempt from paying AIT, you still need to provide proof that you are exempt from being charged AIT.
Okay. Earlier, you talked about a tax clearance certificate, BJ. We want to know, why is it important for taxpayers to have a valid tax clearance certificate before sending money outside Zambia?
Okay, so it is very important to have a valid tax clearance certificate before performing any transaction or sending monies outside of the country, simply because it's a document that certifies you to any institution or any organization that you're doing the transaction through, to state that you are not owing or have not tax obligation pending with the Zambia Revenue Authority. So that implies that the business or whatever transaction that you're conducting does not require to be scrutinized by other parts of other units of ZRA in order to effect deduction or further charges towards maybe any outstanding liability that you might have. So that tax clearance certificate is a document that simply states to say, as of that moment that this person is presenting, this document is valid and states that they do not owe any taxes to the government of Zambia, and therefore can be assisted with the transaction that they are currently undertaking.
Okay. Is a tax clearance certificate valid forever once it has been issued?
No, Alice, and I must emphasize on this. So a tax clearance certificate, commonly known as a TCC, is not valid indefinitely. Okay, what do I mean? Today you might be compliant, Alice,
Mm-hmm.
and your tax clearance certificate at that point is valid. Then tomorrow, if you become non-compliant, that tax clearance certificate ceases to be valid.
Okay.
Yes. So what we're simply saying is that taxpayers' compliance status may change if they are not consistently compliant, and this may affect the validity of the printed certificate, tax clearance certificate that they might have. So it is important for every taxpayer to ensure that when they are sending these monies abroad, monies that are above 2,000 US dollars,
Mm-hmm.
they need to always ensure that their tax clearance certificate is valid. But now then, how do you check? Sometimes you might not know that you're non-compliant. You
Mm-hmm.
might not know that you didn't file a return on the due date. At that point, you're non-compliant. And you might be thinking, no, that TCC that I generated some time back, it's still valid up to the end of the year, December 31st. But in the actual sense, you might have forgotten to file a return and you are deemed non-compliant. And at that point, the TCC is not valid.
Mm-hmm.
So as taxpayers, we have obligations to ensure that we check the validity of our TCCs. But how do we do that? We're in a modern generation now.
Mm-hmm.
We are privileged with gadgets. So the TCC comes with a special feature called the QR code. So once you scan the QR code, it will be able to show whether that TCC is suspended, it's not valid, or it's valid.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, when you see the status of your TCC,
Mm-hmm.
then you can be able to make a sound decision whether to transfer the funds or not.
Okay. And how can a taxpayer claim advance income tax deducted when sending money outside Zambia?
Okay. A taxpayer income tax credits, they'll need to show proof of that transaction, which is the proof that the AIT was deducted by maybe the bank statement or whichever transaction or statement shows that the advance income tax was deducted. They'll need to show the proof of the source of the monies that they're transacting, like where did they come from? Is it from business? Is it from savings?
Mm-hmm.
Just to show how that money came about. They'll need to show a valid tax clearance certificate. So sometimes at the time of the transaction, they may not have a valid tax clearance certificate, but immediately after they generate, this is common for people who are not in business but did not generate a tax clearance certificate. So they can still generate a tax clearance certificate, and once it's valid, they can still claim for the advance income tax. And the last one, any other document that can relate to the transaction itself.
Mm-hmm.
So once you have those documents, you simply now write a letter which is addressed to ZRA through the Assistant Director, Returns and Payments, with the reference stating advance income tax refund. Then they'll simply write what exactly transpired, how much they transacted in, how much was deducted, and they'll attach the supporting documents, and they can come drop them off at the ZRA headquarters. Then from there, they'll simply now wait for the application to be analyzed, approved, and processed, of course, with the normal common business practice of first in, first out. So as you can imagine, there may be more than one person claiming. So of course, the first person who claims will be the one considered first during the refund process, as we put them on the list.
Okay. Yes. ZRA has extended some domestic taxes services to selected border posts. What services can taxpayers access there, and why is tax registration important?
That's an excellent question, Alice.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, ZRA has indeed brought domestic services closer to the public by making available at not any, but there are some selected border posts such as Kazungula, Talk of Nakonde, Kasumbalesa, and many more. So this is what we are calling the one ZRA approach. Unlike in the past, Alice, you find that when you visit a border, maybe you end up with Kasumbalesa, then we didn't have my services, domestic taxes, such as helping you to file returns, helping you apply for a tax clearance certificate, It means taxpayer had to travel, maybe vachokera ku Nakonde and they have to go to Kasama. Now you can imagine those inconveniences. So now we are saying we are bringing these domestic tax services closer to the people that are far away from these domestic offices, taxes. So now, unlike in the past, we are offering these services in these border posts that I've just mentioned. Services that include TPN registration, filing of returns, assistance in also applying for tax clearance certificates, as well as
Quite equivalent to $2,000 or above outside of Zambia. It is imperative that you do make sure that you have a valid tax clearance certificate by the methods that were mentioned, which is, first of all, generating a tax clearance certificate. If you did that already, you regularly check your status on the portal to find out if you have any outstanding liabilities, either by logging in or equally by scanning the QR code just to check if the tax clearance certificate is valid. By doing so, we avoid the hassle of coming to claim advance income tax when it has already been deducted. You can imagine if one has just enough money in the account to transact and then gets deducted their savings, the inconvenience of now waiting for the refund to come. So again, you simply appeal that always have a valid tax clearance certificate, always check the status to ensure that you do not suffer the advance income tax.
Okay. Your concluding remarks, Edwin?
just to add on to what BJ has said, I think we are also appealing to you, our dear esteemed taxpayers, to help protect the government revenue by simply asking for a smart invoice receipt or invoice. Alice, I'll keep on reminding you. Ask for a
very important
smart invoice receipt every time you make a purchase in a shop, in ShopRite, everywhere, because we are running a program called the Tenga Receipt Reward Program. So we are simply awarding those taxpayers, those patriotic taxpayers that ask for a receipt and invoice every time they make purchases of goods and services. And like I said last time, at just the recent ended trade fair, we had awarded some taxpayers. And just next week, we are having our show here in Lusaka. And Alice would want to be part of those.
Of course, like I said last time,
Yeah.
I'm also crossing my fingers.
You're
This is the reason
fingers,
why
yeah.
when I go out there, I ask.
for a receipt.
Yes.
Very important, Alice. So let's continue that, because remember, this is the only Zambia that we have. And if we don't protect our treasury, we'll be the ones to suffer.
Exactly.
So no one else will come and develop this nation. It is us to develop our nation, Zambia. So let's ask for that smart invoice receipt, that invoice, so that we help protect our revenue here in Zambia. So together we can promote tax compliance, fairness, accountability, and in the end we have national development. So for our taxpayers, for any assistance, for any information about the topic of today that we had on AIT, you can simply visit your nearest ZRA office, or you can simply call us on our toll-free line, which is 411-411, or you can simply write us on our official email address, which is advice@zra.org.zm, or you can simply visit our website, which is www.zra.org.zm. Thank you for tuning in, and remember that tax compliance is everyone's responsibility.
Okay. BJ and Edwin, it's always a pleasure having you on Tax Chat.
Thank you.
Thank you, and we're
Alice.
glad to always be here.
Okay. Well, we've come to the end of the program. I believe you've learned one or two things about the topic of focus that we had today. Don't forget to tune in again next time as we bring to you another exciting program. Remember, it's my tax, your tax, our destiny.